Chapter 3: The Silence of Serpents. As a purveyor of deals, my time on this earthly plane has not been without risk. Part of that risk has involved the company which I keep. After all, a criminal's closest companions are other criminals. When I first began dealing, my closest companions were a group of rabble-rousers, wannabe pirates, made up of thieves and brigands. They were the perfect souls to deal with because each of them had lofty dreams that were less than attainable, but they would do anything to attain them. Desperation breeds complacency and a pliable mind. I would simply offer them something they could not refuse, and the rest was historic. However stupid and manageable they used to be, it is no longer the case. That group of once posing anarchists is now an evolved cult, taking after their ancient ancestors. Genuine pirates now make up its core leadership, and they have developed a taste for dark magics, something they had lost over time and then regained. They now have a name, the Shuin, and their main goal has shifted from pointless, unrewarding criminal activity to worshipping Ganon himself, to keeping his spirit alive. How they became so focused is a long, drawn-out story, but the perpetrator of this change was a Gerudo woman, a pirate named Yaken, also known as Wild Dog. She's an intelligent, no-nonsense cutthroat, a murderer, and a wielder of prophecy magic. And she is exactly who I must make a deal with next. One aspect that has not changed since the old days is the Shuin's lack of hygiene. The ship with which they sail the sea. The Roger is a dilapidated, unkept and rusted thing. As I step aboard, the stinking cretins rush about, yelling orders in a sense, none of them giving me a passing glance. Many are considered fish, a term used to describe rookies, several positions below piracy, young and fearless and disgraceful, banished from their homes or perhaps escaped from imprisonment, desperate for community and riches. So many delicious deals to be made. But I must focus. There is only one deal that matters right now.
Oi, Yami, you rat-faced scallywag. What are you doing here?
I recognize the obnoxious, crackling voice and inwardly sigh. Osoi's was not my favorite deal, but it was a successful one. The man, a now 50-year-old, unmarried scallywag indeed, began losing his teeth and his mind before he turned 20. But he desired treasure with a fervor that matched mine, and so we dealt, and we both benefited. Osoi is now one of the richest pirates known to Hyrule, because of me. I turn to him with a handsome grin, and we clap each other on the shoulders as old friends would. I must play the part, even though our deal is long finished. Osoi lets out a full-throated cackle and shakes me.
I never thought I'd see the day. The man who made me rich. Did you hear? I've got a son now. I want to make you his godfather. Oh, say yes. Don't let me down now, brother. We've been through too much.
Shouldn't I meet the boy first? I ask with a smirk. Osoi is a straight-to-the-point pirate. Another ear-blasting cackle.
You got me there. You haven't changed now, have ya? One day you will meet him, but he's off with his mother on the mainland. I have some stories to tell you about that one. She's a stingy bitch.
How many pirates does it take to run the boom chain, Osoi?
A rough female voice shouts over Osoi's lively chatter. He stands at attention, back straighter than I've ever seen it.
As many as you assign, Captain.
Then why is my first mate not among them?
He gives me a wink and runs off towards the bow of the ship with an eye. He hasn't changed either. the scoundrel. My gaze shifts to Yaken, the captain in question, and I note her disgusted stare. I haven't met with her, so whether she's aware of who I am and what I do, I've no idea. But given her wrathful expression, I assume she does. Time to play a new part. Greetings, Captain, I say, giving a short nod. Your crew has amassed quite the following since I last encountered it. The middle-aged Gerudo woman, sporting red hair streaked with grey down to her hips, and a surly disposition, wastes no time. She strides up to me and spits off the side of the ship. I can smell the tobacco she's chewing on her breath.
You don't fool me, dealer.
I do not react. Not yet. I must first assess how to approach the woman, who obviously already distrusts me.
I know your kind.
She continues, spitting again, her eyes never leaving mine.
You're an advantage taker, a vulnerability seeker. You don't fight fair. As a pirate with a code, this doesn't sit well with me.
I allow another handsome smile to come across my face. She is a pirate with a code, and pirates with a code want only one thing. I believe we can help each other, I declare. Fairness. A coin for a coin. Brain for brawn. She'll want me to provide her something in return for any request I may have for her. A perfect counterparty. She may not like how I operate, but little does she know how well she fits into my code. She huffs a laugh in response.
Here's how you can help me, dealer. You can hop right into that ocean there, with the other sharks.
Perhaps you should hear what I have to offer before you feed me to the sea. It's not as though I can't just transmute myself into a bird and fly away to safety. Or simply swim to shore, as the ship is currently docked at Eventide Island's port. But the woman doesn't know I'm a god, as most people don't. Rinku is a special case. So, I'll give Yaken the upper hand for a moment. Her threat is an empty one regardless. At first, she doesn't say a word, just chews her tobacco and spits again. This time, a little closer to my head. Then she smiles, snake-like and sly.
First mate?
She shouts, and waits for Osoi to come bumbling back.
Captain!
He replies, striding up to us, out of breath and ready for orders.
Tell me about this man.
She demands. She continues holding my gaze. Osoi glances between us and shuffles in a nervous way.
Well, Yami is a man of principle, Captain. Ye can count on that.
You've made deals with him.
Well, with the best of intentions.
He lies. Yaken scoffs and shakes her head.
Whether you'd like to believe it or not, Captain, Yami is a doer. If there's something you need, he can get it for you. If it's loyalty you're after, he's your guy.
Faithful Osoi. He might be my only friend. Yaken spits and then dismisses the pirate again.
Come.
She orders, turning her heel and looping towards the ship's cabin. I follow closely behind, hot on the heels of a deal. I can feel it. She needs reassurance, which is true of nearly everyone I've dealt with. But she's hard and stubborn. I'll need to crack her. She halts before opening the cabin door, turning to me and eyeing me intensely.
You get one shot.
She says.
If I feel even the slightest bit of annoyance, in with the sharks you go.
I give her a lazy, two-fingered salute. A risky act, I'll grant. But she only narrows her eyes and proceeds through the cabin door. The smell of mildew and rotting wood invades my senses. The cabin, dimly lit by lanterns on the walls, is narrow and long. I might feel claustrophobic if I were mortal. Yaken leads me down the hall, and I note several padlocked doors along the way. The secrets of pirates are never easy to uncover. I wonder if one of these doors hides a certain treasure I am seeking, one I sent Rinku's father after in return for riches, unbeknownst to the boy. Too bad the overzealous man never came through. We enter the captain's quarters, complete with a rickety desk, piles of random artifacts heaped atop it, and a small unmade rack. The floorboards creak unsettlingly beneath us. What a way to live. It is not appealing to me in the least. But there are those who crave simplicity in life, even when they can afford the opposite. Osoi is the antithesis of this mindset, working under Yaken, living on the ship when on duty and underway, but staying in a winter home on Eventide otherwise. A mansion, more accurately. A much less disturbing way of life in my book, but Yaken lives here, contently, it seems. She sits behind the desk and gestures to another chair opposite her. I take my seat as well, carefully, as the screws holding it together seem to be loose, and I do not take my eyes off of her. A homey place you have here, I say, tapping the wooden arms of the chair.
I don't need much. I make a home wherever I port.
She doesn't seem to be offended by my comment, but I can feel her hatred oozing through her pores. She simply does not like me. Though Osoi has vouched for me, she must have heard other stories as well. There is only one way I can change her mind about me. Why don't we get down to business, I suggest. You and your crew have a rare opportunity to gain a little more momentum toward your goals. I can provide it.
Just like that, you can provide it?
She raises an eyebrow in sarcasm. Indeed I can.
And just what goals do you believe we have, Yami?
I don't hesitate. You want to be closer to Lord Ganon. You want to be a significant part of his takeover of the world. I make a point to call the beast Lord Ganon, a respect I wouldn't normally give. Yaken's pupils dilate at the phrase, and I must suppress my satisfaction. She takes a moment to gather her thoughts, picking up a red jewel from her desk and tossing it in the air.
How?
She wants it straight. Good. By eliminating your mightiest blockade, a goddess too strong for her own good, one who made decisions that affect not only Hyrule, but your crew. She has released Lord Ganon from his seal. I know her reason to be selfish. She wants to destroy him for good, cease with the sealing away business. But we can't allow that to happen, and I have a plan, one that will ensure she cannot touch him.
A goddess?
I give her a slow nod. Yaken full on laughs.
You, a measly mortal dealer, think you can take on a goddess?
I laugh with her, for more reasons than one. You'd be surprised at the kind of information a mere dealer collects over time. I have many sources and many magics at my disposal. The plan is already a go, the pieces already in play. So either way, the goddess is going down. It is now just a matter of whether you want in. Yaken narrows her eyes again, not fully convinced.
Let's say I believe you, that you have this unimaginable power to take down an immortal goddess who has existed since the forging of time, that you want to help us by killing her. All of these promises, all of these dramatic declarations, say I take them on faith.
She leans forward, her chair letting out an ominous creak.
What would you want in return, dealer?
I take a moment before responding. Regardless of her beliefs or whether she accepts this deal, she will never fully trust me. So, no matter what I say, it won't be enough to gain her complete admiration and confidence. But I can get close. Very close. I lift my chin as I answer her question. As followers of Lord Ganon, you must wield your prophecy magic, and you must collect countless souls in order to do so, yes? The captain frowns in uncertainty, but affirms with a nod. And how many souls have you recently secured? I already know the answer to this question. Osoi confessed their plight to me years ago. It is no easy task to sail from town to town and kidnap the number of people required, to steal their souls and create magical hollows that will feed the Shuan's prophetic device. Hollows are like rare jewels, hard to come by and expensive. You've not made a single prophecy in... how long? Yaken's lip curls.
It's been a while.
She admits. For a prophecy cult, a while without a prophecy is rather embarrassing. With no hollows acquired and no prophecies made, the Lord's rise must have been an unexpected event. One that turned the tides and left you unprepared and unable to make the necessary moves that would grant you your place under his rule.
We aren't a cult.
She declares.
And we have hollows. Just not as many as we'd like. What is your point?
My point, Captain, is that I can get you hollows. Enough to make as many prophecies as you can conjure. Enough to confirm Lord Ganon's takeover and allow you to prove your worth to the rightful ruler of this land. I wait for her reaction, calm and steady. At this point, I've insulted her living space, her crew, and her ability to perform the magic she was born to wield. She should be throwing me overboard, but she only sits, contemplating, because she knows I am onto something. This is what I do. This is the part that fills me with fire. I can convince anyone of anything, and the anticipation of it is exquisite.
You still haven't told me what you want in return. You're simply offering me more.
She catches on quick. The prophecies are what I want, Captain. I have my reasons, which I'd like to keep to myself. But if I can help you get them, I will do all I can. I see something in her expression shift. She straightens in her seat and takes a breath.
Show me. Bring me souls, and I'll make your deal. 10 should do.
10 souls. 10 beings at once. Somehow I must find them. Convince them to follow me to a pirate ship. Get them on board, and allow the Shuan to take their spirits and make them into hollows. Not a problem, I say with a smile. Not a problem at all.
The town of Hylias has always given me solace. When the town was founded, shortly after the beast's sealing 300 years ago, I was filled with the love of 1,000 Hylians. Not only did they name the town after me, but they also founded their own special religion. Though more radicalized than most Hylians who worship me, the people of Hylias have an unshakable loyalty that cannot be denied. Whether this has bred more hate than love is a question I have asked myself throughout the generations, however. If one is to speak against my name here, they are punished. I often wonder if when the people of this town move on to their afterlives, they question their earthly behavior. But that death dimension is led by other gods more privy to that information than I. I sit now in the town's only pub, a place of refuge for laborers at the end of the day. I do not frequent the pub often, but I do walk the streets of Hylias on occasion, disguised and hooded so as not to draw attention. The pub is also a place where the town's gossip is birthed. Some of it is unfounded and untrue, but some is useful. I hope to gain the information that I need about Rinku's mother here. Most of the talk has been centered around Ganon's rise, of course. The people have gotten back to their routines, but it is still a time of worry. Hylias is lucky to be far south of the castle, and though monsters have appeared in the hills and the outskirts of the forest, none have yet ventured into more populated areas, but they are still a predominant topic of discussion. Bokoblins, they're called, you know, an older lady tells the bartender, who nods in agreement. Terrible creatures, vicious things, and they come in droves much of the time. If they infiltrate the town, what are we to do?
Hole up in your homes, I suppose.
The bartender replies.
Can't do much else.
The woman scoffs. And then? Where is the Hyrulean army? Why haven't they sent soldiers to protect us? Has the Elder requested military assistance yet?
It ain't got that far, Merelda.
Another patron says, a man of about 40 sipping his beverage.
We've been safe here for ages. But I did spot one of those suckers out in Hyrule Field the other day, skulking around, sniffing for something. Maybe food, maybe flesh, who knows? Had to hide for an hour before he finally left.
The woman rolls her eyes. Yes, we've heard about your adventure 100 times now, Rolo. Don't act as though you're the legendary hero.
I ain't claiming that. But you know what? That hero's gonna show up at some point or another. He's got to, right? That's what the stories say.
He will not. Nor any ancestors, as I sent them to a different timeline. But these mortals would not know this, of course. Stories, indeed. Hylia willing he shall. But I'm more concerned with the present issues. Elder Chi-Chi needs to take some responsibility.
There won't be an army anymore, Merelda.
A third patron says from the dark shadow of a corner. An elderly man's face peeks from the darkness as he leans forward.
Ganon will have decimated them all by now.
Merelda goes quiet and reddens.
Apologies, Elder Chi-Chi. I did not know you were there.
So this is Rinku and Aeris' foster father.
Yes, well, even the village elder needs a drink every now and again.
He replies, calm but weary. Merelda clears her throat and changes the subject.
How are the children?
As grand as ever. Aeris is an angel and Rinku is, well, Rinku is Rinku.
The patrons go silent for a moment before Rolo starts up again with his bokoblin story. As they become more distracted and the elder melts back into the shadows, I rise and move toward his table. Pardon, but may I speak with you, Elder? The old man looks up at me with tired eyes. He must be full of stress and overwhelmed by the townspeople's demands. I see he is armed with a katana.
Why not?
He replies with a sigh.
Do you have a complaint as well?
Oh no, just a few questions, that is all. Elder Chi-Chi shrugs and gestures for me to sit.
I don't recognize your face. Are you a traveler?
Indeed. I have taken refuge here in your town. I hope that is all right.
Why, of course. Our doors are open to all. Where do you hail from? Have you any family?
The elder is curious, but I am the one who is supposed to be asking the questions. No family. I am a traveling merchant. My home is the whole of Hyrule. But I must confess, since arriving here, I have heard a great many concerning things about the children you have taken in, and their mother, having gone missing.
Ah, yes. It's an unfortunate truth. The poor things.
Will you tell me more? As a traveler of the lands, I keep my eyes open. If I can bring back any news of their mother's whereabouts, I would be happy to do so.
Well,
The elder says, a genuine surprise in his expression.
that is very kind of you. It is good to see such kindness in strangers. feels less and less frequent nowadays.
He pointedly eyes the patron sitting at the bar. I try to bring it with me wherever I go, I encourage. When did their mother go missing exactly?
Oh, it must have been almost 6 months now.
He admits.
Not a day goes by that I don't regret the day she left.
The elder's face falls, and his eyes glaze with tears. Regret? He gives me a pensive glance. I can see that he needs to unburden himself of something. You can trust me, Elder Chi-Chi. As a traveler, I hear many secrets along the road, but I never speak them. He takes a breath.
Well, most of the townspeople have their opinions on Utsu's disappearance. That she was overwhelmed by motherhood. That since her husband's death, she felt the burden too harshly and left him on purpose.
But you disagree?
Yes, I disagree.
He looks to the ground in shame.
Because I know that she left as a result of something I said to her.
He takes a long drink and caresses the katana at his hip. I wait for him to gather his words. It seems to take everything in him to do so. He sighs and gazes at me directly.
I spoke of the pirates that murdered her husband Mubo. That pirate ship had been spotted off the coast the day prior. And that
Yes?
it is rumored that Mubo went to a dealer before he was killed. Someone who arranged for him to find those pirates. Mubo wanted to set his family up with riches. I believe Utsu went to find that dealer, so that she could also uncover the pirate's location, not for riches, but to exact her revenge.
Realization alights in me. A dealer was involved. The dealer's name. Do you know it?
Oh, something with a Y, I believe.
Only 6 months ago. I was under the impression that Yami had been in hiding, but it seems he has been dealing in secret as well. The god of law is cunning and stubborn, like a mule crossing a desert with no water. He persists no matter the environment. However dissatisfied this makes me, it is a lead.
I shouldn't have said anything to her.
The elder continues, his voice cracking. The spirits are getting to him now, causing his words to slur.
I should have kept my mouth shut and let Utsu go on with her day, without putting those ideas into her head. She would be here now, with her children. She'd be able to protect them. But she may just be dead.
I reach out and touch the elder's arm. You couldn't have known, Elder Chi-Chi. She is a person of virtue. She wanted justice for her family. That is admirable at its core.
Perhaps. But it doesn't really matter now, does it?
I will do all I can to find information, and I will bring it back to you when I do, I promise him. I am always making promises, it seems. I hope to the 3 that I can keep them.
Well, do keep yourself safe in the process. I don't want to inadvertently send you on a dangerous fool's errand too.
I smile with a certain sadness. Fool's errand or not, with Yami involved, danger is inescapable.
Aries' room was full of trinkets and rocks and shells and mess. It annoyed Elder Chi-Chi, but it made Rinku smile. His sister was a collector, and one day she claimed she would collect one of every type of rock that existed. Their mother used to call her Little Chipmunk in response to her pack rat tendencies. The thought wiped the smile from his face. It only reminded him of the day they had to move Aries' countless treasures to Elder Chi-Chi's home because their mother was gone. He stood in the doorway, staring at the items scattered haphazardly around the small space, and hesitated. Aries was picking up Chi-Chi from the pub so she could walk him home. He had taken to drinking himself silly almost every night now. and could barely stumble back by himself. So Eri, being the kind person that she was, made it her mission to be there for him when he needed someone to lean on, which made what Rinku was about to do even more repulsive. But Yami had stressed it to him. He must make the potion, or else he wouldn't be able to swim deep enough beneath the sea to obtain the Stone of Silence. That was where it was hidden, inside an underwater cave nestled in the trenches undersea. He'd need to dive down there, but would also need help breathing. There was no way he could hold his breath for that long. So, here he was now, rummaging through Eri's room, attempting to find the one ingredient he was missing. Everything else was easy to find. Seaweed from the beach, water from the ocean, a baby like carcass they washed up on the shore every day, and blue choo-choo jelly, like the kind Eri had saved in a jar all those years ago. The level of irony was enough to make Rinku question if the gods were simply playing with him. Perhaps this was his karmic consequence, his punishment for being a terrible son and brother. But if that were the case, were they punishing him or Eri? None of it mattered. He had to find the choo-choo jelly, or they would all perish anyway, and everyone would be punished. Rinku still wondered what Hylia's reasoning was for waking the beast. Yami hadn't told him, claiming it was too mature for his young ears. But if he was the legendary hero, shouldn't he know? Wouldn't he be able to handle whatever it was? The three chose him. But maybe heroes also had limitations, like gods did. A glass clinked loudly against a tumbled stone and he cringed. He didn't want to break anything. He had to make sure to leave everything as he found it, and maybe she would never notice. Eri had so many things after all. He was sure she didn't have any sort of system of keeping track. He moved aside a huge conch shell and gasped. There it was. The jellies jiggled around grossly inside the corked bottle, glistening in the low lights of the evening. As he stared at them, the image of the gelatinous monsters lunging at his little sister and mother flashed in his mind. He hadn't thought for even a second before picking up that tree branch and slashing away until nothing was left but the jellied remnants. He wondered if the three were watching him that day, if that was their first sign that he was the one destined to take on this journey to save Hyrule. Yami had said this mission did not involve any violence. But what about after? Once Hylia was finally imprisoned, who would take on the beast? Maybe he would find out soon, but only if he did his part. He started to shove the bottle into his pocket, but heard a noise. Spinning around and hiding the jar behind him, he saw Eri standing in the doorway, with a puzzled look on her face.
What are you doing in here?
She asked, not angered, but curious. Rinku froze for a moment.
I was waiting for you.
Oh.
He lied.
How's Chi-Chi?
Eri's expression returned to normal, satisfied with his answer, and she strode across the room. He positioned himself so that the jar remained hidden behind his back.
Oh, he's fine. Actually, he seemed more chipper today. More hopeful.
She shrugged.
But he conked out pretty quick when I got him to bed. Tucked him in with Uday.
Good. I'm glad he's better.
Is that all you wanted to ask me?
She questioned, eyebrows raised. She took a seat on her tiny bed, bouncing a little. Rinku could say yes and just leave. In fact, he probably should. But the guilt of stealing from his innocent sister was eating him alive. He had to strike a balance, any kind of balance he could, before his future actions made that impossible.
I also wanted to apologize.
he said, trying to relax his stance, but keeping the jar hidden. He leaned against the table and tried to look natural.
Apologize? For what?
Rinku reached deep within himself. He'd had to face some hard truths in the past couple of days. That the goddess he and his people believed in was not who they thought she was. That his own destiny was mapped out in a way he could not predict. And that he had been acting like a bratty child to the most important people in his life. He needed to take accountability, to give the person he loved most in the world the love she deserved.
I'm sorry for how I've acted since Mother left. I've been awful to you. And to Elder Chi-Chi. I know he's only trying to help us, and I treat him like he isn't. I let my anger get the best of me, and you have to reel me in. I can't let you do that anymore, Eri. I won't. I'm sorry.
His gaze shifted to the ground in shame. Eri stood and he tensed, tucking the bottle even further behind him. She went in for a hug, thankfully her arms wrapping around his neck instead of his torso.
You're the sweetest brother in the whole wide Hyrule, Rinku.
She said, then released him.
Don't you even dare to think that I don't love you. No matter what you do, I'll always reel you in. Anytime you need it.
They smiled at each other.
Thanks, little chipmunk.
He said, giving her a light shove. They laughed and Rinku took his leave, telling her goodnight and carefully maneuvering the bottle out of Eri's line of sight. He was despicable, terrible, a liar and a thief, but at least his sister loved him. He put all thoughts of guilt out of his head as he left Chi-Chi's house an hour later, shutting the door as quietly as he could. He'd already made the potion in his room, combining the ingredients together and watching them swirl into a bright blue magical mixture that would allow him to breathe underwater for a short period of time. He would drink it and dive into the ocean, swimming southward toward the big rocks. There were 3 of them, behemoths standing straight up in the distant waves. They had a real name, but he and Eri only ever called them the Big Rocks. According to Yami, the cave where the Stone of Silence slept was beneath them. Yami said magical artifacts like the stone were hidden everywhere in Hyrule, behind waterfalls, in caves, and even in the famed temples that littered the land. Rinku had never seen a temple, but as the hero, he hoped to one day. The hero of time had to navigate several, finding his own magical artifacts and awakening the sages. What Rinku was doing didn't feel as exciting, but he tried not to be greedy. A hero should be humble and accept his duty with pride. As he neared the shore, the darkness surrounding him closed in. He'd never been to the beach this late at night before. The only light was from the moon, but it was clouded by the red skies. No stars could be seen. Fear invaded his heart, and he felt paranoia creeping in. The waves crashed loudly, but he thought he could hear other noises around him too, like hissing sounds. Rinku jumped as a thunk sounded beside him, and sand lightly brushed his legs. He looked down and squinted. An arrow stuck out of the sand. Another hiss. This time, he understood. He bolted for the ocean as 2 more arrows hissed and thunked somewhere around him. Then squeals, unlike anything he'd ever heard, sounded from behind him. He risked a glance backwards and saw 2 monstrous-looking creatures running at him, both holding bows and squealing like pigs. He wasted no time as he splashed through the shallows. He downed the breathing potion in one gulp, wincing at its salty taste. Then he dove into a foamy wave crashing toward him and swam for his life. He tried not to surface, knowing that any part of his body could be a target for an arrow. His heart pounded as he swam, and he held his breath, even though he knew the potion should be working by now. But he was too afraid to breathe in the water. What if he hadn't made it right? What if he drowned right here and now? As he swam deeper, his breath began to run out, and he had no choice. He needed to either surface to take another breath, risking his life, or hope to the three that this potion wasn't a fluke, also risking his life. It was one or the other. Lack of time made the decision for him. He let go of his breath, and his body reflexively sucked the water into his lungs. At first, he felt a strong pressure in his chest that he thought meant he would begin to drown. But when he breathed out again, the water flowed smoothly, just like air would. It just felt thicker. But he was breathing, and he was conscious and alive. He breathed water in and out, and his heartbeat calmed. It was the strangest sensation, but not at all terrible. He looked all around him, disoriented now after the chaotic escape. He wasn't sure he was heading in the right direction anymore, and there was only one way to check. He swam a little farther toward where he thought might be the big rocks, hoping to get as far away from those squealing monsters as he could, and then surfaced to get his bearings. Immediately, he felt as though his chest was caving inward. He coughed and sputtered as he tried to breathe the air in around him, but it only choked him. So this potion made it so he couldn't breathe air. He dove again, taking a few watery breaths, then held one of them in his lungs and surfaced. It was still incredibly dark, but he saw the massive silhouettes of the big rocks not too far in the distance. He dove and swam in that direction. After a good 10 minutes of swimming, surfacing to redirect, and swimming again, he finally came upon the submerged bottoms of the big rocks. He swam around them, searching for an opening to a cave, but it was so dark. He took to feeling around with his hands instead. After a while, he almost gave up, but then felt the rocky wall fall away. He swam forward, inching slowly, afraid some kind of sea monster might swallow him up, until a dim light began to illuminate the area. The farther in he swam, the more light shone, and he came upon a sudden dead end with a beautiful, glittering chest set upon a stone altar. He touched the chest, noting that the light seemed to be shining from pearlescent shells welded into the metal. It was heavy enough not to float, and didn't seem to be locked. Rinku hesitated, but not for long, knowing he must not give up now. Not after all of that chaos. He opened it, and an object floated up into his waiting hands. It was definitely made of stone, but it wasn't rock-shaped or even jewel-shaped like he expected. It was a mask. Yami hadn't said what it looked like, but he had given him a short history lesson on the Stone of Silence. He had said it was created by a group of rebels in ancient times who decided that the gods held too much power over earthly beings. They wanted a way to weaken a god if they tried to abuse that power. So they used their knowledge of magics and made the Stone of Silence to silence a god. However, it wouldn't work by itself. Not enough, anyway. He would need to acquire 2 more artifacts. What those were, he was yet to be told. He gazed curiously at the mask. He saw that its eye holes were perfectly square and its mouth hole circular, while the material itself looked porous. That would explain why it easily floated. He thought about placing it onto his face, and then felt a strange, piercing pain in his chest. The water was beginning to choke him. The potion was wearing off. He turned, the mask tightly gripped in his hand, and swam as hard as he could toward the opening of the cave. He tried to use the mask as a paddle, but it was too porous. He swam and swam, all the while the piercing pain in his chest strengthening. If he didn't surface soon, he would most certainly drown, and all of this would have been for nothing. He reached the opening of the cave, grasped the rock wall, and pushed as hard as he could off of it toward the surface. It was too dark. He couldn't see how close it was, so he just swam, kicking his legs and trying not to breathe. His body began to convulse, his vision darkening into a shadowy vignette. He wasn't going to make it. Then he burst through the surface of the water, took in a deep, seizing breath of the fresh sea air, and coughed up all of the water that had made a home in his lungs. They burned badly, but he was breathing. He clutched at the rock wall, holding himself above the water, shaking. He would need a moment to gather himself before he swam back to shore. Once he was ready, he paddled toward the light of his town. Making it to shore was one of the grandest feelings he'd felt in years. He laughed and whooped, jumping in the air and swinging the mask around in glee. He did it. Only then did he hear the squeals again.
Oops,
Rinku whispered to himself. He sprinted toward the town as fast as his legs would carry him. Whatever those creatures were, they couldn't keep up, and did not follow him, thank the three. And as he crossed the boundary into Hylias, he slowed to a walk and headed to Chi-Chi's house. The mask dried quickly, and he could see more detail now. The stone, a dark gray, with moss-green lines like lightning bolts streaking outward from the square eye holes. The mouth, which he had thought was fully circular, was more oval-shaped, and seemed to be frowning and screaming in pain. How unsettling. But it didn't matter how odd it was. He had acquired it, and Yami would be proud of him. Though Rinku wished the god had told him more about how that potion worked, he at least knew he could trust him. And whatever the next two artifacts were, Rinku knew he could handle acquiring them too. For the first time, he thought he was truly beginning to believe that he really was the legendary hero.
This ship is not my favorite place to be. Only a day and a half aboard and I am already spent. Some of the pirates I am unknown to have taken to calling me Fish, as though I am a recruit for their silly cult. Yaken has not contained her satisfaction. She still despises me, though Osoi has remained in her ear, attempting to talk me up. But words do not sway her, only actions. We are standing aft, looking out to sea, where she has been informing me of the sailing path they plan to take soon. Along the route is a string of volcanic islands, where an outlying community of Gorons live, mining obsidian. They sell it for a reasonable price to the pirates, and anyone else who happens upon their home. They have trade agreements with several towns and are trusting and loyal, and innocent.
That is where you will find our 10 hollows.
She tells me. You want me to attract 10 Gorons to your ship? I've dealt with Gorons before. Whilst they aren't the shiniest rocks in the pile, their strength is beyond my skill to fend off. If any being could physically overpower a god, it is a Goron.
You told me you could get me hollows.
I will bring you Hylia.
You will bring me whoever I tell you to bring me.
I know what she is doing. It doesn't matter what kind of being I bring. Any soul can be made into a hollow. She wants me to struggle with the task. She wants me to fail. Pirate's code, indeed. I take a steadying breath. This woman has tested my patience more than most, and she is working against her own interest in service of her pride. You must allow me to do this my way. I will get you what you need. I will prove my worth to you. I despise having to speak this way, as though Yaken is above me. She turns to me now, her red eyes more fiery than usual. She bores them into me.
Prove your worth by doing as I say. Otherwise, no deal.
She spins and struts away, but not before a particularly mangy fish sprints up to her.
Captain, there's been a development. The stone has been stolen.
My mood lifts considerably. Well done, Rinku. One truth I did not reveal to the boy is that the Stone of Silence was created by my friends here. Not exactly these people, as they weren't even a spark in the three's collective minds at the time, but the ancient ones who sowed the seed that blossomed what the Shuin have now become. Their magic wielding was comparable to a god's power, unlike Yaken, who needs the help of a god to find hollows. Since those times, the Shuin have kept the stone a secret and hidden, but not from me.
Stolen?
In the night, the diver noted it on his routine check this morning.
I refrain from smiling, though it is difficult while Yaken is so perturbed. She shouts an expletive and kicks the deck. This is my cue. I step up to the two pirates and interject rudely, just to spite Yaken. Well, I'll let you attend to your unfortunate lapse in security then. I must take my leave for now, but I shall return. Yaken scowls at me.
You're leaving? Now?
Don't worry, I'll get you your Gorons. It is a significant ask, so you must allow me the time to prepare, unless you are incapable of compromise. Part of a pirate's code is allowing for fairness on both sides. She knows she cannot in good faith stop me from leaving. She says nothing, just keeps scowling and growls under her breath. She and the fish continue their conversation, giving me the opportunity to finally disembark this stinking ship. Once on the island again, I find a quiet, empty area and transmute into a sparrow, taking flight toward the mainland. I must inform Rinku of the next artifact he is to acquire. I'm giving him the information in pieces for a reason. I cannot let just anyone in on the secrets of weakening gods. After all, he had to prove himself first. In a way, I am acting as the three would, choosing their hero, putting him through his paces, designating destiny and aligning fates. There is a certain degree of satisfaction involved, controlling such integral events. I am drunk with the thrill of it. I flutter into Hylia's, noting the calm that has settled onto the town. People are adaptable, even in the midst of calamity. One of the attributes I admire in earthly beings. I settle onto the ground just outside of the town's boundary and morph back into my human form, now to find the boy. But instead, as I enter and turn the corner of a building, a familiar Hylian disguised goddess smacks into me, and both of our eyes go wide as we recognize each other. I huff a sardonic laugh, stewing in the irony of running into this weak excuse for a higher being. Her expression is full of empathy, of course. Doesn't she realize that I despise her?
I hope you are well, Yami.
Liar. You wish I were imprisoned, you mean?
I wish your spirit to be cleansed, that is all. What are you doing in Hylias?
So many lies, or perhaps simply denial. I ignore her question. Your self-righteousness will get you into trouble one day, you know. I say to her, high goddess or not, you are no better than me.
Is that what you believe? That I think I am better. What a human perspective to have.
A human perspective is what has kept me free. You walk among them, but you do not live among them. You will never understand them fully.
You speak as though you love them, Yami. And yet, you take advantage of their vulnerabilities.
Anger boils in me. I provide wish fulfillment for them. I deal in life and power. Something changes in her eyes. A resentment is evolving within them.
Is that what you've done for those poor children's parents? You deal in death, Yami.
Her nerve. They came to me, both of them. They asked to deal. Do not throw your judgments at me, Hylia, not after what you've done. I should not let on that I know, but my rage is ruling me. How dare she question me, when her actions have caused the potential ending of Hyrule itself? Her admittedly stunning blue eyes squint in question. Oh yes, I know, and one day you will pay for it all. Not just releasing the beast, but for driving me into hiding, forcing me to give up the life I've cultivated here.
You were not ever meant to cultivate a life here, Yami. You were meant to oversee the law of the land and its people. And you have failed.
She takes a step backward.
What I have done is in service of Hyrule. Whether you can see that or not is not my responsibility. I do not have to explain myself to you.
Nor I to you. Hylia steps back again, as though wanting to distance herself from me.
When I am finished, when all is well in Hyrule, you and I...
We'll meet again, yes. I smirk, the thought of what I am doing to her filling me with purpose and passion. She probably means to make things right with me, but that is not my aim. That will never be my aim. She nods sadly, turns, and glides towards the forest. Every part of me wants to follow, to rip her to pieces, but that is not possible. Not yet. There will come a day when the goddess Hylia's self-righteousness turns to self-pity, and I am aching for it.
Next time on Destined to Drown.
Now, are you ready for your next step?
I'm ready.
Rinku felt attacked on all sides by the shame, but he needed something to protect himself, and a tree branch just wouldn't cut it this time. He expected to see the bokoblin charging toward him, but did not expect to see it riding a horse.
You're putting a lot of faith into our prophecy-wielding dealer.
Well, well, it seems you've gotten yourself into a conundrum. Utsu, say it, I demand.
Treasure.
What treasure?
Crystal core.
Well, if your mother did indeed seek out the pirates, then we must as well. Is this how mortals feel when they are compelled to pray to the gods? No options left, no way to move forward. Their only chance being the mercy of higher beings who are unaware they even exist.